Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Max and today we're doing a sketchbook ideas video. As I said in my draw with me video a couple weeks ago, I've not done anything in my sketchbook for a while, other than then, of course. So it'll be nice to do some pages. I know back in the day I used to do 10 per video. That was kind of a lot to do for just one video, because each one's like a whole thing that takes several hours. So we're just going to do 5 today, and I think for the last couple of these videos I've done 5 anyway, so that shouldn't be too much an issue with anyone. And without further ado, let's get started.
Our first sketchbook prompt is to create a double-page collage thing inspired by a particular song or album that you like. I like this prompt because it's one of those ones that you can kind of adapt depending on your skill level. Like if you aren't a very confident, skilled artist, you can use mainly pictures and like printed out lyrics and stuff. But if you're a bit more experienced and want to have something a bit more creative, then you can like make individual bits that aren't printed out, which is what I did. For my collage, I picked a song from Melanie Martinez's new album Portals. I'm pretty sure it's quite well known, it seems to be recommended on literally everything. But I picked Spiderweb, as you might be able to tell if you know the album, because of the massive colourful spiderweb. And I kind of took inspiration a bit from the little short video she posted on her Instagram of it. If you know it, then you know it. If you don't, it doesn't really matter. And I did print out some pictures to add as well, but I incorporated that with other sort of drawn out, cut out bits that I made, as I am doing here. As you can see, I'm drawing out some spider's legs here to attach to the bottom of the bigger Melanie Martinez photo that I printed out. This is going to sit right in the middle of the spider web. It's taking the lyrics kind of literally. I coloured it with coloured pencils and I tried to match the skin tone as best I could, but I don't think I did that very successfully, as you can see. But I stuck it down using Mod Podge and then I kind of went over it with a biro a bit. Next, I made a kind of cut-out thing of some Venus flytraps, and I thought that was appropriate because throughout the song there's imagery to do with kind of insects and butterflies and moths and stuff, and that's the kind of thing that spiders eat, but also Venus flytraps, so I thought that that was a cool connection to make, and I combined them with kind of big colourful flowers that tied in with the colours of the spiderweb in the background. This time I used alcohol markers to colour them in because I didn't really achieve the level of vibrancy that I wanted with the pencils, and I stuck those down with Mod Podge as well, and then I put it in the corner attached to another of the photos I printed out. Moving on to the next component of the collage, I used alcohol markers to create some lovely intestines for her to be tangled in, because not in this song but in another song of the album there is the lyric "tangled in my own intestines," which, yes, it's a little bit grim, but it's also a pretty cool image to like display visually through the form of art. You can't really tell from the video, but this was like the fiddliest part because it was like lots of stringy things that had to weave into each other, but anyway, I stuck that down with Mod Podge up in the top as well. And moving on to the next bit in the bottom corner, using alcohol markers again, I made a pink log covered in mushrooms to go with the portrait from the album cover, and here I'm just writing down some of the lyrics on the thing and then going around them with a biro. Here's the finished thing. I actually really love this one, and it is worth the many hours of my life that it took up. Prompt number 2, the thing you've all been dreading. Finish something. Just find anything in your sketchbook that you've not finished and finish it. Now, I never used to be that person that didn't finish stuff, but then I was, so here we are, finishing stuff. As you can tell from the wintry scene and the Christmas music, this is a Christmas scene. And yes, I did start it at Christmas, and yes, it is summer now. I'm just finishing it today because I want to make sure my sketchbook's all up to date, so that I can progress without having to think about all the demons haunting my past. But why did I give up on this clearly gorgeous painting of some gingerbread houses? Well, simply because it's a painting, and I hate paintings, and also it's Christmas related, and I'm not that enthusiastic about Christmas. Like, I don't dislike it, but it's definitely not my favourite holiday, or whatever we call them in England. And to be honest, when I did this, I was not that enthused by it either. I didn't suddenly want to do this. This wasn't a process I enjoyed, it was just something I had to do. Those many months ago when I first envisioned the final result of this, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do an actual proper painting for once. I'm gonna like blend the colours and make proper depth and shading, and clearly I didn't. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll do that when I finish it now. And then I didn't. I just kind of left it flat and the bare minimum, really, because it was just, well, I don't want to use the word torture, but let's just say I'm having more fun listening to these jazzy tunes than to painting the actual thing. To those of you that are dropping off round about now, I don't blame you, but please hold on. There is better stuff to come, and some stuff that I actually really enjoyed and am quite proud of. Here you can see me adding the small scraping of detail that I included. Just some, like, light, I guess, pushing through the windows, and I painted, like, the star on that house. Doing these quote-unquote details was probably my favourite part of the whole thing. I painted the doors this weird grey colour for some reason. And then I added the details to the sweets that are kind of decorating the fronts of the houses. And also the candy canes on lollipops and stuff that are across the bottom there and the little grass things. And what would a gingerbread house be without a roof full of gumdrops? I just used the same red and some green, which I also used on the bows on the lollipops, to do the gumdrops on the top of the houses. I did go in with pencil to outline some of the details and add a bit of shading. This was originally going to be done in paint, but I don't really enjoy that, so pencils. Pencils is my life, pencils is my medium. Here is the finished result. It's eh. It's not bad, but it's eh. Prompt number 3 is to create a compilation of your favourite things. This is somewhat similar to the monstrosity that is my sketchbook cover, which I made in a video. I hate that. I am ashamed of it. But basically, it's just different shaped boxes that you put the different things in, and the way I suggest doing this is coming up with like categories. So you do like your favorite animal, your favorite actor, your favorite singer, your favorite YouTuber, your favorite cheese or whatever. I started by painting in the background a nice deep viridian color because that is potentially my favorite color. I don't really have a favorite color. I know I like blues and greens best probably, but I've not yet come up with a specific shade that I would feel comfortable calling my favorite. But anyway, I got a lighter version of that color to do the kind of borders of all the weird boxes. And suddenly all my sketches have appeared. As you know, I don't do sketches on camera because I tend to go over things with pen anyway, like I'm doing now, and it would just be kind of dull to watch me drawing the same thing twice. So here in the middle, I've got my favourite OCs, which is Jake, Toby, Jaden, and Ace. If you know, then you know. We've got my favourite animals at the top. We've got an aardwolf. I mean, hyenas are my favourite. I've not decided on my favourite type of hyena specifically, so I've just put an aardwolf in because that's my favourite one to say. And then we've got my cat on the other corner. We've got various characters from favourite films/shows. We've got my favourite food, which is pizza with all my favourite toppings on it, which I won't go into because I don't want to cause any controversy. Then we've got Billie Eilish and Melanie Martinez, obviously. And in the bottom corners, we've got my favourite YouTubers, which is Lauren Zside and Mariah Elizabeth. Then I began the colouring in process, and may I just say that I just did of Jake, if you don't know who Jake is, the one in the green, that is literally my favourite Jake I've ever done. It's the perfectest, it's the best bit of that whole page, because in the end it kind of turns out a bit mid, but that specific part of it, of Jake, it's just so perfectly him. I'm getting very carried away over it, because it's just, I'm very proud. I am of course using coloured pencils as my medium of choice here, because it's my only medium of choice, it's my life, it's my soul. I chose to do earlier versions of Melanie Martinez and Billie Eilish just because I felt like mixing it up. Here we have Sam and Eowyn from Lord of the Rings, my all-time favourite movie/media ever. Then we have Nadja and Laszlo from What We Do in the Shadows, the series, not the film, didn't like the film, the series is just perfect though. Not quite sure about the most recent season, they are milking a bit in that one I think. Here is Dan. If you don't know Dan, he's from the intro, so you do know Dan. He's perfect. This is the Aardwolf. It's a hyena. That's Lauren's E-side. It's not a particularly good picture, but you know. Then I added a background to all of the boxes of grey or either brown, and I feel like I did the middle row fine, but the top and bottom rows all should have been the opposite colours to what I picked, because the ones with brown hair or jackets or whatever then had brown backgrounds and it clashed a lot. Overall, I'm happy with this, but considering the many hours of my life that it soaked up, it doesn't really, you know, compare. It's not really worth it, in my opinion. Prompt number 4 is to draw, paint whatever your favourite video game character or your video game avatar that you currently use on whatever video games you play. If you don't particularly care for video games, what I'm about to paint isn't really that video gamey, you wouldn't be able to tell unless I told you that it was from a video game, but even so, if you want to skip ahead, you can go to 14 minutes in the video and that'll be the next one. So the video game that I'm taking inspiration from is Little Nightmares 2. I have never played this game, I don't own it, I'm too scared, but I like watching other people do playthroughs of it. I think the animation style in it is just amazing. It's such a detailed, intricate world. But instead of drawing 6 on mono, the characters from the game itself, I just kind of turned my OCs into characters that could be from it. I took the style of Little Nightmares 2 and I turned it into fit my characters. And when I say my characters, I mean of course Jake, Jaden, Toby and Ace. I used watercolours to paint a forest scene. I feel like at this point they'd probably be they'd probably just escaped from the hunter and they were on their way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. If you know, you know. But yeah, they're probably on their way through the forest to leave. Up at the front is Jaden, followed by Ace, then Jake, then Toby at the back. They are of course in child form, as the main characters of Little Nightmares 2 are children. I tried to include other tropes from the game as well, like the TVs. I think there's a couple of TVs in there, and also some empty clothes on the floor. I outlined the characters in biro before getting out my One True Love coloured pencils to fill them in. I didn't want to use watercolours to do the characters because I'm not completely confident with them yet, and even though I've got some quite small brushes, I don't think I'd have been able to achieve the level of accuracy and blending as I could with coloured pencils. I tried to use various accessories to cover the kids' face up a bit so that it kind of mirrored the game itself where you can't really see the characters' faces. I then swapped back to watercolour to fill in the rest of the scene. I had them walking over a sort of cliff that had been chopped in half or whatever, I don't know. It looks like a cliff, but it's tiny, so it's a hill. And this is where I added the TV and the empty clothes. There's also a TV behind Toby, kind of hidden in the trees there. I really enjoyed doing this one. I liked working with watercolours because I don't normally. I also liked designing the characters. That's kind of one of my favourite things to do with art, is character design. And here's the finished thing. As I said, I really like it. I feel like the forest itself could have been a bit more detailed, but I'm not really at the skill level with watercolours for that yet. Completely different tone here. Prompt number 5 is to design your own magazine cover. Now this could be a magazine that is already existing in the world, or you could make up your own magazine, whatever you want. And I picked Vogue magazine because I wanted to do something fashion-y with Ace. This is his 3rd incarnation in this video. He's not my favourite. I don't have a favourite, but you would think it if this was the only evidence you had. Ace is definitely my favourite to draw though, as if you don't know, which you should by now looking at this, he's the only one of them who actually wears exciting clothes. The rest just wear normal, boring boy clothes, but he wears proper, more kind of androgynous, fun, colourful, weird stuff. This isn't the sort of thing he wears day to day, what you're looking at right now. This is just if he was on a Vogue magazine, what he would be wearing. I used my brush pens to do the colouring in on this one. I really like my skin tone brush pens. They've never failed me. They always produce pretty nice results. And I used a different... What is that brand? It's so good. I think it's Arteza is the brand I use of brush pens. and they're so good. Like, they're so pigmented and you can blend them so easily, and they're water-based so they don't bleed through to the other side of the paper. Although this one did kind of bleed because I used so many layers and the colours were really strong, but it wasn't noticeable. Like, I could still use the other side of the page for something else and you wouldn't really be able to tell once it had something on it. And I do apologise for the atrocity that is the weird shifting. What is that? Why is my camera moving like that? I don't know. It didn't do it on any of the other ones, but it's just this particular one. It just doesn't like A's for some reason. I took inspiration of the jacket from Eurovision. What country was it? Switzerland? I'll put it on the screen when I remember, but he was wearing like a green version of that jacket and I thought it was really cool. So I kind of took that and made it pink. And then I added all the spikes and made them orange, because why not? And then I kind of matched his nails to that as well. And I painted the background pink, and oh my gosh, the camera, I am so sorry guys. You deserve better than this. This poor filming. And also my ugly nose keeps popping in the corner as well, so ignore that too. From this angle though, you can really appreciate the level of shading that you can get with the Arteza pens. They're just so like juicy. And they blend so nicely, and they're just my favourite things, and I'll be so sad when they run out. I used a coloured pencil to kind of shade out around him to make it look like a shadow, so it was more realistic. I say realistic, he's clearly stylized and not realistic at all. But then I got the black paint and I filled in the Vogue, and I tried to match the font as best I could, which I think I did pretty well on that. I added the date. And you know how on magazines they have like the writing that kind of is on the sides? I added that too. And I even made a little barcode to stick in the corner to make it even more realistic. And here's the finished thing. I really love it. I enjoyed this. This was probably my favourite one. And I hope you like it too. Thank you for watching till the end of the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.